My love is a fever, longing still for that which longer nurseth the disease.
Tell me more.
Hello, Editing Maggie popping in here just before we get started to give a content warning. Some of the plot points of this episode have implications of sexual assault. Other than that, I hope that you enjoy the episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Fully Functional, a TNG podcast. I'm Maggie, joined by Jeff and Dory.
Yo.
Jeff and I are huge Star Trek nerds. Dory's a Star Trek novice, and we are taking her on her first journey through Star Trek The Next Generation. Today we'll be discussing the episode Ménage, Troi. Original air date May 26th, 1990. And we'll take it to Dory for the recap.
Okay. I'm like still crying over the ending of this episode. In a good way for once. Okay, recap. Okay, so the Enterprise, there did like a, this trade agreement conference on Betazoid. They're hosting a reception, and the Ferengi are, did I say that right?
It's the Ferengi, yes.
Good, yes, doing
except the planet is Beta Z.
Oh, God.
The people are Betazoids.
Yeah, I wrote Beta Z, and I still, hey... This is my shtick, though. Don't I have to fuck up something at least once an episode?
Yeah. But you did say Ferengi, right?
Yes. Well, hey, listen. You win some, you lose some. So, yes, Beta Z, Ferengi are there for the first time, and they're like... Picard allowed them on the Enterprise for the reception, but they still are like, you know, don't super trust them. But, okay, this reception, this party has everything. It's got, you know, some alien playing the hammers or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It's got Riker playing chess, as one does at a party.
That is legitimately, like, that instrument that alien is playing is legitimately one of the dumbest sci-fi instruments I've ever seen.
Yeah. I think the instrument they use for, like, the actual sounds is, like, a marimba or something.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Party. So Picard is speaking with Raytan?
I don't remember.
Raytan? Whatever. So he's like old friends with Lwaxana and has known Troi since she was a kid. Oh, no. So she's old friends with Lwaxana's first husband. So he's known Troi since she was a kid. And Troi is sitting at a table with her mom. And her mom's like talking to her telepathically. And she's like, Mom, we need to like say shit out loud. We're not, there's people. Which honestly, to me, that almost feels like the best time to like talk shit telepathically when you're surrounded by other people, because then you're just like,
surrounded by non-telepaths, yeah.
Yeah, go to town. I mean, so of course in like classic mom fashion, when like Lwaxana finally like starts talking out loud, she's like, oh, do you think you would have been a happier person if you stayed on Beta Z? And like just immediately like jumps into like criticizing her.
Why aren't you married? Yeah.
Like, you should be married. I've done all my stuff. Well, you should have children and be married. And what about you messed up your chance with Riker? And Troy's like, we're like good friends. Like, shut up, leave me alone. Yeah, like it's truly wild. This is very much the epitome of like what one person deems to like equivalent, like makes them happy, is not equivalent to somebody else's. Mm-hmm. So like Lwaxana's idea of happiness is completely different than Troy's. Troi is fulfilled. She's satisfied in her job on the Enterprise. She enjoys being with her friends, and like she'll figure out the future stuff later. She's happy what she's doing right now, but that's not acceptable to Lwaxana. Meanwhile, we meet Damon Togg. Damon? What did I say?
Diamond.
Oh, God.
To be fair, Lwaxana says demon, so, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, she does. So we're just going to call him Togg.
Yeah.
So Togg immediately, like, singles her out and is like, oh, she's a babe. He calls her exotic. And he's like, yeah, she's like, I want her because she's super hot, but she's also would be super helpful in negotiations and use her telepathy to, like, I guess, cheat.
Yeah.
Whatever. Get better deals. But Lwaxana's, like, immediately not interested, and she just, like, runs off to Picard, but Picard's also not interested, and he's like, sorry, I have to go look at that thing over there with those people. Bye. Yeah. And Lwaxana, like, publicly, so Tog goes after her, and then she's like, yeah, no, I'm not interested, basically fuck off. And it's awkward and weird. Oh yeah, she keeps calling Troi little one, and that makes Troi angry. So okay, now Wes, Geordi, and Data did a thing about something ahead of schedule. I don't know. I didn't catch any of that stuff.
They basically did a tech thing to tech more efficiently.
Yeah. And they all, like, gave each other credit, and that was nice.
Yeah.
And so then they're like, surprise, Wes is going to the academy, and he just has to do his oral exam. And I was like, wait, like, I know it's like the end of this season-ish, but, like, are we fully leaving? Like, is Wesley actually leaving? Like, this is, like, really sudden, but, like, also, wait, like, no? This, like, what?
Yeah.
And then, so...
I immediately noted about that. Oh, they realized that they had forgot to deal with the fact that Wesley's still on the ship for the last year, and now they have to do another one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then, like, okay, so then after they talk, like, so Wes, Geordi, and Data leave, and Picard and Riker are in his ready room still, and then he's like, Picard's like, so, like, this mission we're gonna go on is just, like, a routine map thing, right? And Riker's like, yeah. And then Picard's like, cool, well, Troi just took shore leave, so you might want to do that. Have fun, boy. Mm-hmm. And so then, like, yeah, that, like, escalated quickly, but then cut to, like, Troi and Riker walking around in this beautiful garden. Riker's in this blue top.
Dory, that beautiful garden, you've seen it before.
Where oh boy, they recycle sets.
Wesley got arrested in it.
Oh my god. Oh, that's from season 1.
That's right. Wild. Yeah. It's not a set. It's like they're shooting on location.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just for some reason they did the exposure and the lighting a little weird, probably because it was a bright sunny day, so they didn't have a lot of choices there. So yeah, I know that
Cute.
it looks a little weird, but it is definitely the same place.
I didn't think it looked weird at all. I don't know. It looked fine. It was pretty. Lots of flowers.
Oh, I find the overexposed parts look a little, like, weirdly dreamy, and I thought it was a strange choice, but that was just like a post-processing thing they did.
Yeah, so Riker's in this, like, nice blue top. He looks very nice. Mm-hmm. And then Troi is in a, let's call it a dress.
Yeah.
I don't really...
It's very 80s prom.
Yeah, there's a lot of 80s prom going on in this episode.
To be honest, I know it's objectively pretty terrible, but I actually like her outfit.
She looks incredible in it, though. That's the thing. Is, like, it's a very confusing outfit, and she wears purple tights. Yeah. But it's like, it's somehow, like, she's so beautiful, and just, like, it all just looks so nice on her. Like, that purple is so pretty on her. But they're, like, walking through the garden holding hands, and I'm like, I'm sorry, are they in a relationship and we just, like, fully didn't know about it? Or are they just, like, hanging out, being friends? I'm very confused.
Yeah, I legit don't know where the kiss comes from.
Because, then they kiss, and I'm just like, wait, like, either way, I'm very happy for them. If they just are gonna, like, if they're in a relationship, that's nice. If they're just, like, fucking around, that's nice. Like, I don't understand what's happening here, but, like,
I think I might have mentioned this when we first started the podcast, that their relationship is weird and complicated because they're very, like, close and romantic with each other, but they're not in a relationship. Like, they fully have relationships with other people throughout the series. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's kind of a, like, they're kind of like in this like kind of limbo zone with their relationship at this point.
Okay. Because, like, I know they've done flirty things in the past and whatever, but I just wasn't sure if they were, like, secretly dating and then surprise, or, like, they just... Because I was like, why is Picard telling him to, like, go on, take the break just because Troi was? Or, like, does he know something we don't?
The Picard thing, I don't know if that was,
it's
like,
really
to
weird.
Put him with Troi. I think it was more like, take a vacation, idiot.
Well, why did he mention Troi? That he's like, Troy's doing the smart thing and taking shore leave. Like,
because they're both senior officers.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it kind of felt like he was trying to set them up. I mean, that felt like a little weird, but at the same time, like, I'm fine either way.
Yeah.
Like, I think that they have is it Jonathan Frakes and Marina Sirtis. They have like really good chemistry. So like, I don't know, whatever they're doing in this episode, I'm enjoying. It's because like it's not awkward, even though like I don't know like whatever their relationship status is. Like it doesn't really matter, I guess, because like there is no awkward or cringe. They just seem very like at home with each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think they're friends with benefits, but like not all the benefits. Like I don't
with some benefits.
Yeah, friends with some benefits.
Yeah, they just occasionally make out.
Yeah.
Party.
Yeah, that's the best description I can think of.
I mean, I think they're cute, so whatever they want to do, I'm happy for them. Because it's very cute.
Because for once their outfits don't look exceedingly uncomfortable.
Sort of.
Yeah.
So then we do learn, though, that like they met on Betazoid because... Beta Z!
Yeah.
Haha! Beta Z, because Troi was a student and he was a junior officer assigned to Beta Z, which is cute. So it's like, okay, they have a bit of their origins, which is nice.
Yeah.
So then, of course, they're kiss, and then the background, the second, and I was like, oh my fucking god, it's Lwaxana.
Yeah.
In a very interesting outfit. It truly did not get featured as much as it should have because it was beautiful. It was kind of a like Victorian style, but not Victorian style gown.
Yeah.
It was like embroidered. I don't know. It was beautiful. And the color scheme of that dress matched Troy's really nicely. And then, of course, we have our trusty Mr. Home, our favorite drunk boy, or lightweight drinker, I guess.
Yeah.
So then they like sit. So then, of course, Troi and Riker are like, "Oh, hey, how did you know we were here?" And so she's like, "Surprise," but not actually surprised. But then they sit down and like, Lwaxana sends Mr. Home to go get blueberries or something.
Some kind of berry, yeah.
Yeah, and then Tog appears and he's like, "Hey, I think we should like hang out and you should like come with me." Lwaxana's like, "No, fuck off. Go back on your ship. Goodbye." And he's like, "Well, I was going to do that. I was going to get back on my ship." And then he's like, "For the transport." And everybody's like, "Wait, what?" And then, so now we're on the Kraton?
Yes.
Kraton? Whatever.
The Cretan.
The Kraton, the Ferengi ship. And,
I'm making fun of them, Cretans.
Oh. And so initially, like, they're all in, like, a cell. And then for some fucking reason beyond me, like, Riker's standing in there. Everybody's in the cell. And then, like, Troi and Lwaxana disappear from the cell and leave their clothes behind and appear naked in a different room where their doctor comes in, and they're very chill for being naked in like a foreign place that they have no idea what the fuck they're doing there.
I mean, they ain't happy about it.
Like they don't have, but they're like very chill about it. I know Lwaxana is like doesn't give as much of a shit, but like it's still.
If you remember, betazoids like get married fully naked, so I think like they're like they're not as uncomfortable with nudity, like as humans are.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. But also it's like I think they've established this at this point that like Ferengi women don't wear clothes.
Oh yeah, because then like I think the doctor was like, females do not deserve the honor of clothing, and I was like, ugh, just like get the fuck out.
Maggie, did you recognize the guy playing the doctor?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, I wanted to point out, because this is very amusing to me, but they keep getting the same actors to play Ferengi throughout Star Trek. Like, so many Ferengi are played by repeat actors. So this is the first time that we've seen one of them, an actor by the name of Ethan Phillips, who is he's known in Star Trek for a completely different character that everyone hates for a totally different reason. Not because of Ethan Phillips' acting. He's actually a very good actor. It's just...
Yeah, the character sucks.
Yeah, he's the Jar Jar Binks of Star Trek. Anyway, the character playing Damon Togg has actually played a Ferengi already. He played the Ferengi in The Battle from season 1. The captain who was trying to bring down Picard for revenge. And the other Ferengi, the one who doesn't have very many lines, he's in the what's it called?
Chess one?
Yeah, the chess one. He gets brought up as a Ferengi twice more in the future. Both times it's a different character, and I think they're both in TNG. So yeah, they really love bringing back people to play Ferengi.
Wild. Okay, so then like Troi and Lixana put on like holographic blankets, right? And they have these like telepathic conversations that are not subtle.
No.
Because like Troi makes a lot of big facial expressions, and it's like, what? But okay, so Lixana says like, you know what, like you could, like, I will talk to you, just like send my daughter back, and like I'll take care of this. So Troi goes back to Riker, and then so Lixana. This is so stupid, but I just needed to watch this a couple of times. Togg brings her to, I guess, his room and flicks the switch, and where like this bench turns into a bed.
Yeah.
It just like slides out really weirdly.
Don't you mean really sexily?
No, I do not. Yeah, it's really fucking weird. So then, okay, back on the Enterprise. Geordi, Wes, and Data have a discussion about like, I don't think like Wes didn't really think about the fact that he might not end it back up on the Enterprise, like that number one, would Picard even still be the captain of the Enterprise, because it's like the flagship, right? So like, why would like a first year be automatically like, or whatever the graduate, I don't know, how many years do you go to the academy for?
You know what, that's up in the air. There's only a couple of people who are directly in the academy while Star Trek is going on that we get to meet. The implication is that it's a 4-year program, but that's inconsistent depending on who's writing it.
Okay, because I was thinking like
a character
how long is it to be if Picard to like retire or not be on the Enterprise anymore or something?
Well, it wouldn't be that he would retire. It's that captains change hands on ships all the time. Like somebody doesn't get a hold of a ship and then they're there for like, 15 years or something like that. It's like, even if you go back to the original series, you had Kirk there, who was doing what they announce in the credits as a 5-year mission, and after he's done the 5-year mission, he gets a promotion.
Oh,
yeah, because like you have like a tour of duty, right? So you have like a certain, like you do your tour for a certain amount of time, and stuff.
Now the reason they're inconsistent about it is because Star Trek is just very inconsistent about its connections to military, but I will talk a little bit more about that later.
Okay, so then so like Wesley finally like realizes like he might not end up on the Enterprise, so that kind of distresses him a little bit. But then Geordi's like, listen, the academy is the fucking best, you'll have a great time, you'll meet new friends, have adventures, etc., etc. It'll be super fun times. And then back on the Creighton, Riker is basically like backseat chess playing or whatever from inside his cell while the other Ferengi are like playing. And Yeah, that whole chess thing. That's fine. Whatever. I guess give Riker something to do. And then, looks the everything with Lwaxana and Tog was so fucking gross. Sorry. It just was like, he's such a pig.
Yeah, seriously.
He's so sorry. You know what? That's not nice. Pigs are great. He's a douchebag. He's trash. Because he just it's honestly some real incel vibes.
Yep.
Of like refusing to like
That's
she
Ferengi.
has to gross. Like Lwaxana has to like put herself in this really gross position to get Troi out of this position, and then Troi could feel it, which is like gross also. It's even grosser of like okay, well, I think Lwaxana's trying to like, what is it, delay, or I don't know, she's trying to put off dealing with him, but then like, so she's giving her romantic history. He's just like, I'm not interested, I'm jealous. And then she's like, my, what big ears you have. Has everyone told you how attractive they are? And then Tog goes, some females think they are my best feature. And I threw up in my mouth. No, but actually when Lwaxana Troi said, my, what big ears you have. And I immediately in my head, I'm like, the better to hear you with, my dear. Freaking Little Red Riding Hood shit.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah, she's like touching his ears and it's really weird. And then he's like, oh, mentioned something about like Umax, and she's like, what's Umax? And basically she's like jerking him off. Whatever.
Yep, that's what it is.
She's fingering his ears and he's getting off on it.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, this is truly so incredibly uncomfortable to watch. Lwaxana is a hero. Because I don't know how she's a real trooper. I don't even know. Like, it's so gross. I don't even know what to say for that. So, okay. Riker was able to convince the other Ferengi to, like, let him out of the cell so he could play properly with him. The chess game thing. But, like, once he lets him out, he knocks him out. And then him and Troi... So he lets Troi out. And then, like, they kind of escape because... Oh, wait. Okay, so, like, once Troi and Riker get out of there, they go to this computer thing, but they can't reach out to the Enterprise because they need some, like, access code. But like, Tog has the access code. So Lwaxana has to, like, think of something. So she's like, okay, do you want a drink? I'll make you a drink. It's this, like, very specific one. You don't have access to it in your computer? Okay, I'll tell her how to do it. What's your access code? And Tog starts to give her the access code combo. But then, like, the doctor comes in and he's like, no, you dumbass. She's, like, getting that stuff from you, but I think I should inspect her brain to see how she gets her powers so we can try to duplicate it. And if you don't let me do this, I'm going to tell our superiors that you were, like, fucking around. So Tog's like, okay, fine. I guess take her.
He gives her up way too easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Meanwhile, finally, when, like, the Enterprise, I don't know, they went to do something. I don't care. It doesn't matter. But now they're back, like, closer to Beta Z, and the guy from earlier, Right-Hand, like, is, like, sending them a transmission. He goes on the screen. He's like, oh, Troi, Riker, and Lwaxana have been missing for, like, 2 days or whatever, and you need to, like, find them. I don't know. So then they go to... they go to the garden where everybody was taken, and they find the, like, oh yeah, Tog brought Lwaxana, like, these gross dried up flowers that she, like, casually tosses on the ground, but she did that, and then there's a clue. So they're like, oh, they deduce that the flowers, they're traced back to the Ferengi. So they're like, oh, the Ferengi obviously have them. And oh yeah, so then, like, Wesley has to go do his oral exam, and the, like, Bradbury is what's, like, taking him there. And then I was like, this was so funny. So Picard, so they're like, okay, the Bradbury's really got to go. And so the Picard just turns to Wes and he's like, Mr. Crusher, now, no lengthy farewells. Good luck. This is just like, thank you, sir. And then he just like looks around the bridge and walks out. I was like, there's no way. That can't be the goodbye. Even from Picard. That can't be it. But then he like goes down to the transporter room and Dr. C's there and she's like, take care. Like, what a random thing to say to your child. But then she's like, what's wrong, Wes? And he's like, well, there was like transmission and stuff and static and whatever. They figure out that so like Riker was able to send this transmission, but there's like message like static, but then like the static is like, what is it? I don't know. It's the tune of the hammer music at the beginning.
Yeah. Algonian
so,
ceremonial rhythms, I think.
Yeah. So it's like, cool, thanks, boy genius, once again. So, okay, then Riker and Troi find Lwaxana. She's like, listen, I will stay because Troi is only half Betazoid, so she won't be helpful. And Riker, if you keep Riker, like, the Starfleet will, like, never stop chasing you. So, but I'll stay and I'll, like, do whatever you want. I will, like, negotiate, whatever. So then they send Riker and Troi back to the Enterprise. And and Troy's like, listen, Picard, you need to like fight for her because like you just need to do it. And then Picard, this is the most incredible scene. Mm-hmm. Picard just yanks a bunch of Shakespeare out of, well, first he goes to speak, like on the screen there's Lwaxana and Tog, and Picard goes, it's not over between us, Lwaxana. You're mine, and I will not let you go. I insist you return to my side immediately. And then she goes, you mean you still care? And then he launches into, my love is a fever.
For the record,
still,
he's quoting several Shakespeare sonnets.
Yeah, because I was like, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Like, I'm aware of that one, but I was like, there's no way it's that long leading up to that bit.
No, there are several of them. It is really funny though that Picard is super awkward about like having to proclaim his love to someone, but then as soon as it's like, wait, I can quote Shakespeare, he is immediately in his element.
He's like, I can show off my Shakespeare knowledge. Let's do it. And then like they cut to Riker and he's just like, lol. And then Troy's like, lol. And Worf is looks horrified. Yeah. Worf is like, It's so funny. That scene was truly incredible. And then Picard is like, that he has to have her, and like, he'll basically destroy the Kraton, whatever, the fucking ship for her. And he's like, I need to get her back in 10 seconds. And then he's like, Worf, get the shit ready to go to fire. And then he's like, Tog's like, but then you'll hurt her. You'll kill her as well. And he's like, well, he does the basically, if I can't have her, nobody can. Yeah. And so then the funniest part though is Picard counting down and then saying quotes in between the counting. So a classic, we got to do one of my very favorite Star Trek things, which is like no concept of time. Yeah. Because he's like 10 seconds and that is not 10 seconds, but like we'll do like Star Trek 10 seconds, I guess. And so then Tog doesn't want to like, didn't realize, Picard and Lwaxana have a thing, and because Lwaxana's like, oh well, you have to stop like killing all my lovers. And it's a whole thing. It's a great scene. And then when Picard's like shouting that he must have her, you can see like Troi in the background and she is like loving it. It looks like she's having the best time, just dying. It's so good. Yeah, so then like they give in, and then Lwaxana gets transported to the Enterprise and then immediately goes to Picard's lap, and he's then immediately uncomfortable. He's like, oh yeah, this was like a show. This was not real. So then they're going to go bring Lwaxana back to Beta Z. So Picard goes to Wes and goes, Mr. Crusher, set course for Beta Z, warp 9. Like really quietly. So then we're back. I guess they dropped off Lwaxana. And so we learn Wes missed his oral exam. And, he speaks with Picard. and he'll reapply next year. And then then Picard's like, listen, Wesley, in our heart, you're already an ensign, you know? So he's like, I'm promoting you to be like real ensign with like all the like good shit that goes with it. And I was like, oh, that's so fucking cute. So Wes isn't leaving. That's so nice. And then I started crying because then Wes walks onto the bridge in his uniform. I was like, he's so cute. I'm so proud of him. He's wearing his nice uniform. It's a little big. It's a little big on him. But
Dory,
like the pride.
Dory, do you want a little bit of a tearjerker?
I don't know.
Something else went on behind the scenes of that in order to commemorate Will Wheaton specifically. So you know how Wesley is a little bit of a self-insert character for Gene Roddenberry?
Sure.
Okay. Well, yeah, Roddenberry kind of saw himself as, well, I was the dorky prodigy kind of real smart kid when I was young. And to be fair, he was extremely successful in his younger years, especially. But yeah, he off screen got together with Will Wheaton and presented him with his original second lieutenant bars that he earned in the Navy back in the 1940s. And so he gave them to Will Wheaton during this, well, after the scene, obviously. And the real awkward part about it, guess who came to oversee it? Colin fucking Powell.
Ew.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What?
Yikes,
Why?
eh?
I mean, ew, Colin Powell, but that's like, that's impressive.
It is very impressive, yeah. At the time, Colin Powell was obviously not Secretary of State, but he was, what do you call it? Joint Chiefs of Staff, and was obviously involved in the Gulf War II bullshit and all that. But, I mean, people had a lot less access to information at the time, so it would have been real fucking cool to meet somebody that high up in the U.S. military.
Wild.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's really sweet though that he gave him his.
It is. I actually
stuff.
wanted to segue a little bit on that because the fact that Will Wheaton was such a self-insert character for Gene Roddenberry, I think, is real important to note here. Roddenberry's history is all over the fucking place. He was born in 1921, so obviously he had to go into the Second World War as like, you are ready for this. But he wasn't dealing with combat. He was actually okay. So out of school, he tried to go into policing and end up becoming a crash investigator. And then when he ended up going into the military immediately after that, he got his pilot's license. So he was in the Navy, but as what do you call it? As a like a survey pilot. And it was his job to investigate crashes. And so he was doing like not forensic investigation, but it was investigation on the technical side of trying to figure out like what caused this crash and things like that. And it's interesting to go from, okay, well, I got my policing stuff and then immediately went to the military and became a fucking pilot. And what did he do after that? He went to work for Pan Am Airlines as a pilot because, you know, well, I did that. So that's 3 careers in the course of like 5 years in his 20s. That is impressive as hell. And there's a great story about him being involved in a plane crash himself in 1947. It was a Pan Am plane crash. And he was basically a hero during the crash. Like the plane went down, the pilot was killed. Lots of people were real fucked up. They were crashed in the Syrian desert. So he ended up taking up a leadership role and saving everybody. He managed to what do you call it? Flag down rescue and get support for everyone and help people to make sure that they, like, you know, if they were injured, they were cared for and all that. And like this guy saw a lot of he didn't see combat. He saw a lot of the good side of helping people, and obviously the technical side as well because of his job. And I think that him bringing that into Star Trek is real cool, because essentially he took Star Trek's vision of the military in the direction that he saw it, from his personal experiences, and him basically taking like one of his earliest commemorations and giving it to Will Wheaton as a gift, only a few years before he died too, is like fucking tear-jerking to me. So yeah, that's my story about Gene Roddenberry, the hero. I'll send you. There was like I think it was like an XKTD comic, but it might have been something else. Maybe it was the Oatmeal or something, that did a thing specifically about that Pan Am flight crash, and how much he did during it. It's a really cool story.
Oh, wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't believe that horny old man did all that.
Right? I mean, for all of the fucked up views and things that Gene Roddenberry had, he was never a bad person. Mm-hmm. He did some shitty things in that he didn't treat his family super well. He had problems with his wife. There was adultery. He was by no means a perfect being, but he was a good soul. And I think that's really important to remember about him. And I think that he definitely took that view of the world that he got from being a good soul and said, we can all be like this with Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure, like, even though he wasn't in, like, direct combat and stuff, like, I'm sure he saw some fucked up shit.
Oh, absolutely. Because he was investigating plane crashes.
Yeah, exactly. It stands to reason that a person like that would want this sort of positive vision of the future. Yeah,
definitely. He ended up retiring and going on into just writing in the 50s, like retiring from his previous jobs, and most of his writing gigs ended up being, before Star Trek anyway, ended up being stories about about investigators, like detectives and whatnot. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, clearly he was coming up with things from his own life experience.
Yeah, well, they always say in writing is write what you know.
Yeah, so absolutely.
A lot of people tend to like use their own, get influence from like stuff that's happened in their life.
Yes.
It's also crazy that like you go off to war and stuff, and then you come back, and then you just have to live a normal life.
Yeah, especially from something like the Second World War, which, I mean, the First World War, much worse in many ways for the amount of people who experienced it, but the amount of people who were killed in the Second World War is, like, absolutely frightening. It wasn't as many Americans, partially because of when they got in on it. So, like, once they got in on it was when around the same time that the successful pushback started happening, because Hitler was fucking up a lot and whatnot.
Yeah.
But, like, still, like, that affected everyone back home as well as the people who were there by such a, like, transcendent amount of people were affected by that. It is huge.
Oh, yeah. And it's, like, young people, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I saw this TikTok that someone was talking about Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah.
And I promise this is related. And they're like, man, you realize, like, those kids, like, they have, like, 30 years of memories of, like, war and all this shit, and now they just have to go back to being, like, regular children again?
Yep.
And so the person was responding to that comment saying, like, well, I'm not entirely sure of this. I think that the person who wrote it, like, was in World War II.
Okay.
And she said that, like, people during that era, like, that's basically what it was like for them. It's like she said, like, my grandfather, like, after the war, he went to university.
Yep.
So it's like, yeah, you have, like, all this horrible experience, and then you just have to come back and, like, just, you know, you have this life-altering shit happen, and then you just have to go back to normal.
Yeah.
And it's like,
My grandfather
Real
told
weird.
me a little bit about that because he was a paratrooper in the Second World War. He was part of Canada's only paratrooper regiment, and he flat out said to me in the last couple of years of his life when we were talking about it that like he went out there and 50% of his friends would go down in one jump, like just that's it. They wouldn't make it to the ground, or rather they would make it to the ground, just no longer alive. That was it. They were done. And he talked about how he felt a lot of anger after that, not at the people that he was there to fight, but at the people who decided that everyone can be sent out here to die. And he held so much against officers and the government after that.
Yeah,
for,
the people
for making
the
these
calls.
fucking decisions. Yeah, precisely. And the way that he saw it was that to those people upstairs who weren't the ones seeing this shit every single day, they were just seeing numbers on a piece of paper. Like they didn't understand what the human cost was. They couldn't imagine it.
Yeah. Man, I wish I talked to my grandfather more, but he also didn't like talking about that point in his life for
that's very
many
understandable.
obvious reasons.
Yes.
I know enough that I know he was forced to dig holes for mass graves and shit and trenches and stuff.
Yeah.
And that he was in the Warsaw Resistance.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that to me.
And then when the Soviets took over, he was also part of I forget what it was called, but yeah, basically like a anti-communist resistance sort of deal. And he was in prison. And
oh wow.
yeah, when he got out of prison, they're like, okay, we gotta fuck off. And like that's why they came to Canada.
That's it. Time to leave.
Yeah, because he had a brother here who was in the British Army and then moved to Canada. I forget why, but that's why they came to Canada, because he had a brother here.
Okay.
Yeah, I realize because my grandfather, I didn't fully understand what was happening, but he got honored in some way by like the Polish government like a few years before he died. And I was reading up on it, and basically what happened is that, like, the groups that he was in were considered, like, enemies of the state and stuff like that. And basically what happened is the Polish government recently, like, in the past, like, I don't know, like 5 or so years or something, they pardoned everybody that was, like, they pardoned everybody who was, like, seen as, like, a enemy or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's what my grandfather got. He got an official pardon from the Polish government, which was really, really interesting.
That's super cool, yeah.
Yeah, and like another reason I wish to talk to him more, because he obviously, like, to be included in that group that actually went and met the Polish prime minister and stuff, is like, he obviously, like, did some significant shit. So it's like, I just wish I knew more about it.
Yeah.
But I understand not wanting to talk about that shit, because it's, traumatizing.
I mean, absolutely. I wouldn't want to do that either. But like I'm really glad that in my case I got the opportunity to it, but I would not have been the one to bring up the conversation. It actually came up because we were going through some of my grandfather's old things, and they found some of their regiments, what do you call it? Like books that they had put together, commemorating everyone and talking about them. And they're not like books to be sold off. It was essentially like, hey, our association that supports, like our group of people after the war put this together specifically for people who were involved, and that's it.
Yeah. I also feel lucky that, like, privileged enough to, like, have history and have living grandparents and stuff, because for a lot of different reasons, like either fighting or like, the Holocaust and stuff, a lot of people's families were just destroyed and wiped away, and like huge chunks of history are gone.
Yep.
So yeah, that it'll fuck the military, honestly.
Yes.
And, like,
Yes.
fuck war and, you know, white supremacy and anti-Semitism and anti-blackness and yada, 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 all that stuff.
And especially, fuck Colin Powell.
And sorry to bring down this goofball episode with...
Didn't Colin Powell just die?
God, I hope so.
I think he died recently.
He may have. I'm not entirely sure.
I'm pretty sure he died like a few weeks ago. Hold on.
Yeah, he died in October.
Did he die in October? Really?
Yeah, it was
I
a
thought that
thing.
was more recent.
No, it was a thing for a little while. Everyone was talking about it. Rather, people were mocking him for it.
Oh yeah, October 18th. Oh, I totally thought it was a few weeks ago. What is time? Like Star Trek, what even is time anymore?
Pretty much, yeah.
I thought it was a couple weeks. I thought it was like a couple years ago, honestly. Time means nothing.
Yep.
Anyway. Yeah, I mean, this episode's not too deep. Honestly, it's just a goofball episode.
Yeah,
No,
I think
isn't.
Luxana was fun. I got like kind of like a bummed of like, I wasn't really sure if they were going to really let Wes go or not. And I was like, wait, no, I'm not. I needed more time to prepare if he is leaving, because that's so sudden. And Picard was just like, bye, Wes, later, Gator. And I'm like, wait, that's it? And also like what a like anticlimactic goodbye from Dr. C as well. She's like, take care. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
How can you say take care to your child as a goodbye?
Well, take it easy, kid.
Or she just goes like, see you later, alligator, and walks out.
It's so cute, because I feel like his character did not get a lot of respect on the show.
Definitely not, no.
So this was nice.
But Jean loved him.
Yeah. I honestly did not know that he was a Jean self-insert.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought I've talked about it before.
Not that I
Like,
can
obviously
remember.
he's not, it's not like precise, obviously, but the one who in the end was fighting for Wesley to be on the show was always Jean. He thought that
I
Wesley
thought it was the lawyer guy.
Well, the lawyer guy on behalf of Jean. But yeah, Jean very much saw the character as a self-insert.
Okay. Fair enough.
Well, I like Wesley, and I was sad to think that he was leaving, but then just him walking in with his too big uniform.
Yeah.
It was so cute.
It was very noticeable, but then
my
I
God.
looked at everyone else's uniform, and they all seemed kind of baggy.
Yeah, they are baggy. That's how these particular uniforms
But his
are.
is especially
His
baggy.
just seemed really baggy in the shoulders.
Yeah.
Oh, fair. I mean, he was
But
still growing.
Yeah, I do think that Will Wheaton is like a fairly slim guy. Like in this, like he's young, right? He's like what, 18 at this point?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
something
18.
like that.
So he's still
So,
growing
like,
to do.
Yeah, so he's just like looks so small, and it looks like it's a uniform for someone with like much broader shoulders.
Yeah.
But
Yes, that's
it was
fair.
still so cute, just seeing him like walking with his little uniform, and he was like hee 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 hee.
Aw.
It was adorable. Yeah, this episode was like fine. It's always fun to see Luxana. I really could like do without the Frangies for a while. They like suck so hard.
Well, good news. You can deal without them for a while until they show up again.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Until several of the same Ferengi show up again as different characters.
Oh boy.
Yeah. At least they're not taking them seriously anymore.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a point in the future where they do. In fact, there's points where they are taken less seriously than even this.
Yeah. Yeah, so I suppose we should move into favorite moments and lines and things of that nature.
Oh,
Picard's
God.
declaration
Yep.
for Luxana.
Yep.
That was
Yeah.
so fucking good. It was all over the place. His countdown from 10 was incredible because time means nothing to anybody anywhere. I don't know. It was nice to have Troi get to do something. She doesn't do anything, but she gets to appear.
Yeah.
She gets more screen time, which I'm always happy for. Some good outfits. Lots of 80s prom outfits.
Yeah.
Riker wears like a casual outfit, and it's very nice.
That's a
It's,
word for it.
I liked his shirt.
Yeah,
the
I
pants,
liked
Fine,
it
you're
too.
allowed to.
So, some of
the
the
pants are fine.
Yeah,
but
some
the
of the
shirt was
stitching
nice.
I wasn't a fan of, but like
There's
overall,
like weird pleating.
Yeah.
The weird pleating at the front was like questionable, but I think the shirt was really nice.
He looked
And
comfortable.
Yeah, it looked like linen, like kind of loungy.
That color's
I
really
don't
nice
think-
on him too.
Yeah. I liked the colors of Troy's dress. I didn't, or quote unquote dress. I don't get it though.
Yeah.
There's just like a lot happening, and then her hair was like had that like looked like a shoelace or a piece of yarn that was tied in a bow at the back,
Oh yeah.
like a ponytail. Lots of interesting clothing choices, but yeah, that last scene. Oh yeah, and then like Wesley being promoted, and then counting to 10 was very funny.
Yeah. So my favorite is also the Picard soliloquy and stuff. I think we've mentioned this to you before, but there's a very famous, internet famous song that is made up of clips from the show.
Oh yeah.
And that speech is like a major part of the song.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, that's also my favorite. Love the moment with Wesley. Yeah, I think all my favorites are the same as yours.
Yeah, I mean, I was more amused by seeing actors that I recognized than watching the episode. I never really like this episode. I think it's pretty cringy. There are moments in it that are amusing, obviously, and there's a very famous screenshot of Picard doing a what the fuck at the screen that comes from this episode. However, the content of it is just so like, this is a low point even for Ferengi, and I think that kind of bothers me. And it's weird because it's not even necessarily a worse episode than other Ferengi episodes. It just doesn't contribute anything that I want to see. And so like in terms of favorite moments, fuck, I don't have many. I guess there's a moment when Damon Togg is saying to Loxana, it's impossible for me to resist you, and she says with like the most contempt that she can come up with, then don't. Mm-hmm. And like that kind of that expression of emotion kind of echoes how I feel as I'm watching it.
Yeah.
And I just want to say to the writer, then don't.
I honestly don't think it's that bad. Like, in terms of Ferengi episodes, I really don't think it's that bad.
Well, it's like I said, it's not that the episode is bad. It's that the behavior of the Ferengi in particular is like this is a real uncomfortable scene, and it's ultra rapey.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of it. There is a person... There is implied sex for some people's freedom, which is like, oh, God, what the fuck? Like, this is very much steeped in the time period that it was made.
Yeah, it is messed up. I fully, like, watching it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is pretty fucking messed up. But yeah, it doesn't, for whatever reason, it doesn't give me the same kind of visceral feeling that it does for you. For whatever reason, I don't know. So yeah, with that, let's get to predictions for the next episode.
So Dory, I'm going to sum up this one because honestly, I won't tell you why, but Maggie and I just, we don't remember this episode super well. I do remember it. It's just kind of hard to explain because it's a very Star Trek premise. The Enterprise rescues a critically injured amnesiac.
You forgot to say the title.
Oh, yes, I did indeed. The episode is called Transfigurations. Mm-hmm. And the description that I have stolen from Memory Alpha, thanks guys, is the Enterprise rescues a critically injured amnesiac who is undergoing a mysterious transformation.
Okay. I think I'm going to go with the first thing that popped into my head, which I know it's going to be wrong, but I'm going to lean into the weird. Werewolf.
All right.
he doesn't remember that he's a werewolf. Doesn't remember that he was attacked by a werewolf or it could be vampire. And he doesn't remember why he's feeling like this, and he's turning. It's like full moon. Or you know what? I think vampire would make more sense because there's more like symptoms versus like.
Also, the moon is always full in space.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, vampire makes more sense. There's just more of
There is also a precedent for vampires in Star Trek.
Is there?
You mean
like,
the salt vampire?
Yeah, that's one example, but there's other species that are kind of similar to that pop up once or twice. But yeah, species that like live off of feeding off of others. There's one that we see in the original series, actually in the very first episode.
We do?
Yeah, that's the salt vampire.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize salt vampire was like the first episode.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
This makes me think of there's the TV show What We Do in the Shadows, where there's a character who's an energy vampire. And it's pretty freaking great.
That's my ex-wife.
There's also, they have someone who's an emotional vampire, and that one is pretty great too.
That's also my
but
ex-wife.
yeah, I'm going.
Sorry.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with vampire. I know I'm wrong, but that's what popped into my head first, and it does fit because like this person, let's say they don't remember being bitten by the vampire, so they've like healed, and now they're having weird like they don't see their reflection. They're like, why don't I see my reflection? I don't remember. And then like, oh, I'm turning pale and I'm like thirsty for blood, but I don't remember why. Yeah,
right.
That's what I'm going with.
Well, if you'd like to see if Dory's right, watch along with us and join us for the next episode of Fully Functional, a TNG podcast.
Goodbye.